And welcome back. You're still watching Beautiful Day. This is Weather HQ. Now, they may look messy, a bit muddy, but mangrove forests are one of the most powerful natural defenses we have against flooding, storm surges, and climate change. Now, with the country losing nearly half of its mangrove cover in the last century, environmental groups like Oceana are sounding the alarm. To tell us more about why mangroves save lives and why we need to act now, we are joined via Zoom by Attorney Rose-Liza Eisma-Osorio, Acting Vice President of Oceana, Philippines. Good morning, Attorney Rose. It's a beautiful day.
Good morning, Paolo. Yeah, indeed, it's a beautiful day.
Well, Attorney Rose, first of all, yung mangrove forest, it feels like for a very long time we have been discussing this. Naalala ko nung high school ako, nung college ako, talagang pinag-uusapan yung mga mangrove forests and why they are critical to yung biodiversity natin in terms of survival of coastal communities and so on and so forth. Pero what exactly makes it critical to yung environmental biodiversity natin and of course yung safety for coastal communities, especially dito sa Pilipinas?
Yes, mangrove ecosystems, yung mga mangroves natin, no, marami tayong species of mangroves that fortunately for the Philippines, these are crucial for many coastal communities because they provide not only food, livelihood, but also protection against coastal hazards. And alam naman natin, no, Philippines is often visited by tropical cyclones. The July is known as the month of the rainy season in the Philippines. And even this week, no, we have seen heavy rains and continuously flooded homes and streets in Metro Manila, bringing it to a virtual standstill with government work and classes suspended in the last, 4 or 5 days. So, it's important for us to realize that mangroves offer actually sustainable and cost-efficient ways for us to protect ourselves from these hazards and natural hazards and disasters. Because mangroves play an essential role in mitigating the impacts of this extreme weather conditions such as coastal flooding, and also ensuring protection against storm surge.
Well, storm surge is one of the bigger topics, especially very timely sa panahon ngayon. When we talk about science-based results, real-life stories, we actually have a few. Surigao del Norte comes to mind. What can we share from Surigao del Norte that can show us ito yung ginagawa ng mga mangrove forests, especially during storm surges and typhoons?
Yes, at the height of Typhoon Odette, it was a super typhoon, no? And in Surigao, particularly in the municipality of Del Carmen in Siargao Island, they were actually protected by the mangrove forest, extensive coastal greenbelt of mangroves and beach forests from the adverse impacts of that extreme weather condition, the super typhoon. So many lives were saved, their homes, although there were because of the strong winds, they were affected, but no lives were lost, because essentially the mangroves gave them a protective cover against the storm surge and other impacts of that super typhoon.
I want to talk about how mangroves are also in terms of yung biodiversity natin, in terms of its impact to nature. It actually houses different types of marine life. Napaka-rich yung ecosystem,
Yes.
especially with mangrove forests. Just can you give us an idea of just how rich that ecosystem is?
Yeah, so as you note, no, mangroves are the nursery areas for our fisheries and aquatic resources. So doon talaga lumalaki yung ating mga isda, doon pinapanganak at lumalaki before they migrate towards our seagrasses and coral reefs. Kaya in the Philippines, kompleto tayo, no, in those tatlong ecosystems kasi we're considered a tropical powerhouse. And so yun nga, with mangroves, yung connectivity natin with the different ecosystems are very important kasi nga it's biodiverse and maraming mga resources that are living there, as shown in the video, no, maraming lumalaki dyan, nagiging nursery areas yan ng mga maliliit na isda, and so it also becomes a source of food for our coastal communities. Doon nakukuha yung mga aquatic resources na kinakain natin, like crabs, mangrove crabs, and all the other things that we have we can use for our day-to-day food.
For those confused kung anong pinapakita natin ngayon, that is the mangrove trees protecting the residents, of course, from storm surges and as we mentioned a while ago. But even though, I think we've emphasized here, Attorney, na napaka-importante yung biodiversity that it provides, the ecosystem it provides, even the protection. But then, we've nearly lost half of our mangrove forests in the last century. Bakit po?
Yeah, despite its critical importance nga, I agree with you, no? We have still lost half of our mangrove cover in the country because mangroves remain undervalued and severely threatened pa rin. So, our forests, this mangrove forests, face a multitude of challenges from all fronts. Meron na yung deforestation, yung reclamation, yung pollution, and of course, conversion of mangroves to fish ponds. And of course, climate change and associated sea level rise in relation to climate change. So, ito po yung mga nangyayari na hindi natin bina-value so much ang ating mga mangroves. Kaya it's currently severely threatened pa rin.
I mean, there are actually some mangrove forests in more urban areas. The Las Piñas, Parañaque Wetland Park also comes to mind when it comes to that. Pero you mentioned the threats there. Just what's at stake if we keep on losing yung remaining forests natin?
It's a threat to our food security, yung unang-una, no? Kasi, yun nga, the Philippines is an archipelagic country where country surrounded by islands. And on these islands, we have many coastal communities of population living on the coasts. And these coastal communities are directly dependent on the resources, that they find in our coastal ecosystems, such as mangroves and coral reefs. And so kung mawala po yung ating mga mangroves, medyo maapektuhan po yung productivity ng ating isda, ng ating mga source ng pagkain natin. And so that's I think, as you mentioned, yung Las Piñas, ito nga yung last remaining mangrove forest natin. Isa din na mawawala natin is yung impact niya on, globally, kasi nasa East Australia, flyway siya ng ating mga migratory birds. So, may role yan in terms of connectivity ng iba't ibang mga bansa, hindi lang sa loob ng bansa natin, no? So, but outside our countries. And so, kung mawawala po ito, marami po talagang mawawala sa ating lahat.
Attorney, before we let you go, first of all, yung mangroves are natural carbon sinks. It's one of the most important weapons we have against climate change. But Oceana is also pushing for the National Coastal Greenbelt Act. Just what exactly is this law that you're trying to push? And of course, what impact do you hope it has?
Yeah, for the goal of this law is to secure the restoration and preservation of mangroves and beach forests to combat yung mga other mga adverse effects of climate change. Mangroves are known to be the most efficient in terms of absorbing yung carbon sequestration potential niya ay malakas talaga. So, in terms of our campaign, we aim that the national government will pass a law that will establish coastal greenbelt zones in the country. And para itong coastal greenbelt zones, based on studies, based on science, if we have a 100-meter belt of coastal greenbelt composed of mangroves and beach forests, it will help alleviate or mitigate the impacts of storm surge by as much as 60%. So yung minimum requirement talaga is 100 meters coastal greenbelt. So yun ang gusto namin ma-institutionalize through a national law, and then and help protect, and institutionalize a system of restoring our mangroves and beach forests para we will be able to protect ourselves, and the benefits ultimately that we will get both from the from the community, from the ends of the side of the community that rely on these vital resources, and on the environment, will be will be felt by everyone. And I think this is essential for our not only sustainability of our resources but survival as well.
She is the acting vice president of Oceana Philippines, Attorney Rose-Liza Eisma-Osorio. Maraming salamat po. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing your insights.
Thank you, Paolo, and thank you to the Beautiful Day program.